Oops. All right. Hi, everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Jason Barquero. I am your host, your moderator, really guiding you through our Alumni Conversations. I believe this is our third installment, so we welcome everyone to our third installment of our new Alumni Conversation series here at Cerritos College, and we're really, really excited to welcome you all. Before we get going, and I introduce our guest for tonight, I want to let you know that tonight's presentation is being captioned and interpreted to ensure it is accessible to our deaf and hard of hearing audience. You can turn the captioning off or on with the button on the screen of this. The interpreters will be visible throughout the evening. So without any further ado, I do want to welcome Mayor Jennifer Perez as our guest today. Jennifer, welcome. Thank you so much for being on. Alum of, I know I have your year here somewhere. We don't have to give it away, but we know.
We don't have to say the year.
Then you know what? I won't either. There you go. I won't give my year either. We're both, although we're around the same era, so that's a good thing. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Cerritos College is family to me. Not only is it because it's our community college here in the city of Norwalk, but it's where I became part of the person I am today. And a lot of the people that are there, that have been there, taught there, administered there, students, friends, a lot of those people are the people that really helped make me the person I am. So I owe it to them, and I will always owe it to Cerritos College.
That's amazing. And for those, I know folks are just, I can see the participants are just joining us. So again, we're just getting going here with Mayor Jennifer Perez, Mayor of the City of Norwalk, also Cerritos College alum. So what I want to do, I have a bio here that I want to read. For those of you that don't know Mayor Perez, she spent her entire life in Norwalk serving the community that has helped her to shape her values and her ideals. She attended St. John of God Elementary and St. Paul High Schools and graduated from Cerritos College with her AA degree in business management and administration. A little bit more about her. Mayor Perez has served the city as a planning commissioner since 2010. She says that her years of experience on this advisory body has taught her the importance of listening, taking the time to carefully evaluate each situation, and to respect residents' points of view. And we know that's very, very important. And definitely want to make sure that our students are also learning that as they enter the workforce and getting out there. So it's very exciting. And so Mayor Perez, I think the first thing I want to ask you is, so what's it like being mayor?
Jason, the way that I look at it is we have an opportunity to make a difference. I look at being on city council and being the mayor, not always as just an elected position and something in politics, but those that know me know that I'm a servant leader. I'm going to give, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to do the right things for the community. So being mayor and, being in charge of the meeting and slamming the gavel is no different in my eyes. We sit on a board with 5 people, with 5 council members, including myself, and we're all one team. And we have goals that we want to achieve for the city. Public safety will always be a #1 priority for the city. Economic development, we all want to shop in our own city. We all want to eat in our own city. We all want to see the best things for the city that we live in and the city that we love. And that's what I think I'm doing. And that's what I will always put my best effort forward to do.
When did you decide you wanted to serve in public office? Like, at what point in your career? Was it at an early age at Cerritos? When did it first, this is something that I'd like to do?
So when I was at Cerritos College, I was involved in student ASCC. In fact, 3 of my very great friends, 3 including myself, 2 of them, we were all named Jennifer. We all spelled our name differently. In fact, John Van Gaston from the athletic department, we dubbed him our moderator so we could be a bona fide club. And we were involved in the ASCC. I was on the Senate with ASCC and decided to run for student body president. And just try to, keep giving back to the wonderful students and the programs that we all learned to love at Cerritos College. I did not win that election, but what it did taught me was that I knew I didn't want to give up. And so I started my family here in the city of Norwalk, and was asked to volunteer and to be a planning commissioner here in the city of Norwalk. And the planning commissioners are an advisory body to the city council when it comes to development and new things, new businesses that are coming into our city. And I remember very distinctly being in a planning commission meeting, and the 5 of us voted on an item that we did not think was a good fit for our city. And after that meeting, our city attorney came back and told us, no, you can't vote like that. The city has ordinances, and the developer met those ordinances. And just because it wasn't a development that you thought was a good fit, you can't vote that way. So it was at that point that I decided that the planning commission was as far as, my voice would go at that time. And I knew that if I wanted to do more, if I wanted to be a part of a conversation with the developers, I had to run for city council. And so I ran for city council. My first election was in 2017, and I won that seat. And that's where we are today. It brought us to where we are today.
So take me to 2017 really quick, and we'll get to stuff about the city and all that, but I want to hear the fun stuff behind the scenes. So you decided in 2017, I'm going to run, you're first time running a campaign outside of Cerritos, right? Not exactly the Cerritos College running for office type of stuff. What did you learn through that experience? Because I know we have students on here, right? And we perhaps some early alumni who think that this may be something that I may want to do, right? And I remember, I think I heard John McCain one time many years back say something about he loves to serve, but he hates running for office. And then it hit me. I go, those are two very distinct things, right? Being in office and actually campaigning and running for office. Tell us about that experience and what that's like, and what folks that want to serve and want to run for some office, what they need to be prepared for.
Absolutely. So prior to 2017, just to give a little background, I was maybe a freshman or a sophomore in high school when my dad decided that he wanted to run for Norwalk City Council. Okay. So as a high school student, that is the last thing that you want to hear. My dad won his seat and served for 4 years on the Norwalk City Council, and one of them he served as mayor. And after his term at serving as a council member for the city of Norwalk, he decided that he wanted to run for Cerritos College Board of Trustees. And he served as a Board of Trustees member for over 20 years and loved every minute of it. So when I was approached and people started talking to me about running for Norwalk City Council, a lot of people came up to me and said, "Are you sure this is really what you want to do? You've lived politics. You grew up in politics. You were a teenager in politics when your family was going through it. Is that what you really want to do?" And my answer back to them, Jason, was, I want to serve. I believe that I can do more for our community. I'm going to put my name out there and let's see what happens. John McCain is absolutely correct. The campaign portion of it, you don't know what day or time it is. Your start and end activities never stop. I was always told that if you did not wear out several pairs of shoes, you didn't work hard enough.
Wow.
So running for political office at Cerritos College and walking around campus, passing out flyers, hanging up posters on all of the buildings, all over the student center, that taught me a lot, because you had to figure out how you can be in all areas of the campus at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Then to put on and to look at Norwalk, we're 10 square mile radius city. So how do you cover the entire city and share your message, share your name, and then do it maybe 2 or 3 times more before Election Day, on top of making the phone calls, answering the questions, returning emails? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But the reward of being that servant leader is well worth it. It doesn't, you can't take that back. So if you have to put in the work every 4 years to get elected, and it's something that you want to continue to do and you have the passion to do it, it's worth it.
So it's not just ribbon cuttings and red carpets and stuff like that, right?
No, I wish it was that easy.
I can see you thinking, I know a way, right? No, I totally get it. A quick reminder, I'll just pause here for the folks jumping in. If you have any questions, and I do have one here, and I'm glad that folks are engaging, put them up on the chat or put them up on the Q&A. I promise we'll get to them right away. If I don't, we'll definitely do that towards the second half here of this hour that we're spending here with Mayor Jennifer Perez. This is great. And so I think with that, someone has a great question on here they just put on the chat. Said, can you tell us about some of the specific leadership qualities you picked up during your time in City Council?
Something that I have learned, something that I think everybody should learn, is you should always listen more than you speak. There's so much great advice out there. Residents can be telling you stories of things that they are very, very passionate about, and you need to listen first. You need to listen first, and that needs to be your priority. I don't think that should ever be away from anybody's forefront of their mind. The other thing that I personally try to make it a point of doing is follow-up. Follow-up is very important. I started my career in hospitality management, and you learn with the Hilton hotel mentality that you reply to a guest or an email within a certain amount of time. And no matter what's happening, whether it's your professional life, your personal life, city council, I think it's very important that we're always on top of our follow-up. So listen more and continue to follow up.
Speaking of listening, Jennifer, that's such great advice. You're out obviously in the community speaking to folks. What is it today? And then I think we'll segue into, of course, a lot of things that are happening right now and over the last year, which has been crazy for everyone in this world. But what are some things that citizens of Norwalk, residents of Norwalk, whether as they're approaching you at a restaurant or during breakfast or as you're going out to an event, and what are you hearing? What are some reoccurring things that folks are asking you, for help or for advice, or what are you seeing recently over the last several months?
There's always conversations and talks about economic development, bringing businesses, bringing restaurants to our city. Residents are sharing with us that they're shopping outside of Norwalk and they want to shop in their city. So 3 years ago, we adopted our economic development plan, and we have 11 nodes, specific areas in the city that the city council is focusing on for economic development. So that can range from restaurants, retail spaces, multi-use housing, all kinds of things. We want to refresh Norwalk. That's what we hear a lot of. We also hear about infrastructure. We want our streets fixed. We want our city clean. And I want that just as much as everybody else. So the minute I hear from a resident that people are doing illegal dumping, or the trash isn't getting picked up, or their streets need to be repaved, That's part of the day-to-day job. That it's not, Jason, like you said, it's not all ribbon cutting and, shaking hands with everybody. We have to find the way to make the infrastructure strong. And we hear a lot of that. And so that's what we're doing. The city of Norwalk this fiscal year set aside $9 million to focus on street improvements in neighborhood cities, neighborhood streets, not your main thoroughfares or, your Imperial Highway, your Pioneer, your Studebaker, your Rosecrans, but actually the neighborhood streets. Streets aren't cheap. So we, like I said, we set aside $9 million to improve that infrastructure. And those are the things that we hear about.
A little bit about, and I know you talked a little bit about that, but how has, if you can go in and give us some specific details of how COVID-19 has affected the city of Norwalk. I'm sure it's affected in very similar ways like it has as well for many other neighboring cities throughout Southern California, but specifically in Norwalk, what are some things that you have seen that have impacted, right, and have had a tough impact on the city? And how has the city activated, right, to get out there and you talked about some of the money that's out there and things like that. So if you can walk us through some of that and the impact, I think that's important for folks to know and what's in store.
Absolutely. Well, we all know first and foremost with the stay-at-home orders, a lot of our businesses were shut down. If you were not an essential business, the business was shut down. To close, go home, be safe, stay healthy. What we tried to communicate to our businesses and to our homeowners is that order came directly from LA County Health. So that was not that's not a Norwalk law. It wasn't anything that City Council sat down and we decided. We are under the health guidelines of the LA County Health Department. So we have to take direction from them. So what we tried to do for our businesses, and we can just start with that conversation, is we did our best to promote them for those that were opening, for our restaurants that were doing takeout. We went and printed signs and put it on all major thoroughfares. We highlighted the businesses on our social media pages. We printed signs for the restaurants because we knew that they're already incurring a loss of revenue. So to print these signs and do these sort of things, we knew it was going to be even harder for them. And so we took that on and we printed those signs for them. We came back and we offered public safety for our restaurants and for our grocery stores to assist with, the entry of limited amounts of people. We offered business grants to our businesses that are in the rears for rent and utility payments. And that was directly through the city of Norwalk. And we also started a business recovery program. And we partnered with our Norwalk Chamber of Commerce and some of our local businesses to say, okay, what are you going to need? We need to recover from this. Let's start the conversation very early. And how do you foresee us coming out of this pandemic? Let's start those conversations now. And so that's what we did. Now for our internal programming, a lot of that had to council, but we came back and we did a lot of virtual events. We did a lot of drive-through movies. We had drive-through classes for our young tot programs where their preschool was directly through the city of Norwalk. So we found ways to stay communicating with them and with their parents. So that way we can really be there for them. And then for our seniors, our seniors in our community, we have the best seniors in the senior center here in the city of Norwalk. And our seniors count on coming to the senior center every single day for lunch. But we couldn't do that during the pandemic. So we turned around and decided to deliver lunch to them. And we brought in more caseworkers to start regular communication with our senior community to make sure that they were okay, to make sure that they had food. We had regular checkups, wellness checkups, just to make sure that they were okay. And, that was some of the things that we started early on. And then just now, about, I would say 5 weeks ago, the city partnered with Coast Plaza Hospital to start vaccination clinics for Norwalk residents. And so the city of Norwalk facilitated the clinic, and we assisted with the dragging and the queuing, and then Coast Plaza administered the vaccines. And we did a great job reaching out to our senior community and then to our teachers that teach here in the city of Norwalk. And in one day, Coast Plaza vaccinated 175 Norwalk teachers. And now Coast Plaza and the city of Norwalk is working together to vaccinate homebound seniors. So those are seniors that don't literally come out of their house. They can't drive to Coast Plaza, but we're going to come to them and do what we can to make sure that they're vaccinated at the same time. So we're finding ways to assist not only our businesses, our students, our residents, our senior community. We're doing all we can. And if anybody has any other ideas of ways that we can do more, by all means, send them to me via email, and I'll put my email in the chat, because we are always open to suggestions, because we can't think of everything all by ourselves.
That's great. That is definitely a lot of work. How is the city's residents responding to vaccinations? Are you seeing folks hesitant? Are you seeing folks come around? And what is your message to the residents of Norwalk also, and from the city's message around vaccination?
You know, we are trying to encourage our residents, our employees, our teachers to get vaccinated. If you can, I would strongly encourage it. I'm looking through my email. If you give me 2 seconds here. I apologize. I should have had this number up. So we're right now, about a week ago, we received a report that so far 20% of Norwalk residents were vaccinated. Now, to me, that seems like a low number, but thinking about who has been approved to be vaccinated, I think we're doing pretty good. And now that we have the partnership with Coast Plaza and some of the news that just came out today that people, you know, from 50 and up are able to get vaccinated, and towards the end of the month, 16 and up, there should be enough vaccinations to get more people vaccinated. It's getting there. We're getting there, and we as a city are trying to individually do our part to make that happen.
I appreciate everyone's questions, and I can see this. We'll get to some of those here in a sec. I had a great question here about kind of switching gears a little bit, associated with Cerritos College. And someone asked, how is the college and the city of Norwalk working together to support students?
So we as the city are a reference to the college and to our students on a regular basis. We are always in contact with Dr. Fierro and how we can benefit for the college and be a resource for the college. In fact, when the pandemic started, our team at City Hall, including myself, the superintendent from Norwalk La Mirada, the superintendent from Little Lake School, and Dr. Fierro had weekly meetings. How we can assist, how can the city assist the school districts? What do they need in regards to infrastructure? Is there PPE needs? How can the city partner? Can we get you some resources? This past year, we've been in regular contact. One of the other things that we do, and I'm proud to say that the college has always been a great partner in, is our Education Alliance program. The Education Alliance program is a way for city leaders, school leaders, leaders from the college and the business community, reach out to our seniors in our high schools in the Norwalk La Mirada Unified School District and get them job ready, prepared for the future. And I am so proud to say that Cerritos College has always been a huge supporter of that and encouraging our students to take the next step in their education and offering them during that Education Alliance process all of the opportunities that Cerritos College has to offer our students. So there's always been a very, very strong connection. I know that our Norwalk Community Coordinating Council offers scholarships on a regular basis every single year to the veteran students at Cerritos College. And Norwalk is a big part of that process. So there's a huge connection for our students and the administration and our city team from Norwalk to Cerritos College.
And so I have to ask you, how did your time at Cerritos College prepare you? And that's probably a loaded question, but what can you remember from your time at Cerritos and taking classes and earning your associate's degree? Any mentors, any folks that take you back to that time that you say, boy, I remember what that person said at that time? Or, how did those experiences prepare you for really the tough work that you do, but the very valuable and very appreciated work that you're involved in?
Jason, how much time do we have?
Right.
I'm just gonna, it's a hard question, but it's a question that brings warmth to me, and brings the best memories. So when I graduated high school, and this is for any of our students that are listening, when I graduated from high school, I absolutely did not want to go to Cerritos College. I told my mom and dad that I did not want to go to Cerritos College, that I was going to a Cal State or a university, and I was going right in and I was going to be successful. And when I graduated from high school, I went into the Cal State system, and this is when the Cal State system was so compacted that I couldn't get a single class. And I took dance classes for a year, which did not make my mom and dad very happy because it was very costly to dance in college. And I didn't take a single class. And so after a year, I had to go back to my mom and dad and tell them that they were right, that I should have listened, and I should have gone to Cerritos College first. And so I started going part-time to Cerritos College and full-time to Cal State Fullerton. And during that time, I saw that I was able to get so much more done at Cerritos College. And the teachers and the professors that I was meeting were making so much more of an impact that I stopped going to Cal State Fullerton and stayed at Cerritos College. And to be honest with you, I don't regret that at all. It was definitely a lesson that I had to learn, but I think it was something I had to learn on my own. I right away started getting involved in student government and student activities. Tony Grijalva, Trudy Foster, they were right there when you opened the door at student activities, and they were there for you no matter what. Dean Acklin was one of the best student activities, dean coordinators, and event planners that I think I've ever met before in my life. I can remember, because my dad was an elected official and on the board of trustees, I was very fortunate to be able to build a relationship with Dr. Fred Gaskin, with Dr. Linda Martinez. Gosh, I can keep going. The teachers that I remember were Angela Hoppy Nagal. She was my speech teacher.
She was
and
my
I
teacher,
will, oh,
you just took me, a lot of years, and I was a speech
right?
major, so I appreciated. She was awesome.
I remember too, like the things that she taught us in those classes.
Yeah.
I use every day of my life. Dr. Eugene Blackman, he taught all of the business classes. And I remember I was over the moon to be able to take a business class from an actual businessman. He owned and operated his own business before he started teaching. And to me, I walked away with so many skills from that. And just Dr. Phil Rodriguez, some of these teachers that you get to meet that make an impact
Yeah.
not because they're looking for recognition, but because that was the person that they were. And I remember I started working at Cerritos College. I worked in the student activities office and managed the student center. And one of the events that we were holding was a job fair. And so I was in charge of making sure all of the jobs, the potential jobs, the business owners that were there for the job fair were happy. So I had them all lined up in the student center. And as I was walking around the student center one day, I stopped, at the desk of the Hilton. And they were hiring for the Hilton Anaheim right down the street. And so I said, well, I'm working here at student activities for Cerritos College, but I need a job. So I went and applied at the Hilton. I got the job, and I worked in hospitality management for 15 years. And I would not have gotten that job if I did not manage the student center at Cerritos College. And that's where I took my life. So it's, I've worked for the Hilton. I worked at the Queen Mary. I've managed Marriott properties. There's so many different things that I can go back and remember. Gosh, I remember doing homecoming and building the floats at homecoming in the back of the bleachers with all of the student clubs and just making memories. Those are things that you'll never ever forget.
You're right. I forgot what I was going to ask you next because I'm just engaged. I'm thinking back about my time at Cerritos. I'm like, okay, now I got to get with it. No, but you're right. And I see folks here excited. I know that Wesley said, hey, yes, Angela. Do we know, does Angela Happy Gal still teach at Cerritos? If someone knows, please put that in the chat. I would love to know. She does. Thank you very much. I have to reach out. Because when you said that, it did take me back. I was a comm major then and all of that. So it truly, I can go on, but that was great. I have some really good, please put questions on the chat now because I really want to get to the portion now to answer some of your fun questions. So put them on the chat or on the Q&A. I have a couple of other ones here. Trying to pick which one. Well, let's go with this here. Someone asked, what is the most difficult and the most fun thing about being a mayor? What has been the most difficult, most challenging, and what's really the most fun that you really get excited about?
So I'm going to give one example that will actually speak to both. When I became elected, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a difference here in the city. And some of the very first things that were brought to us on city council were things that were being mandated by the state of California. And I didn't understand. I was still learning. I was a rookie. And so I couldn't understand how they could mandate how we as a city council were to take care of our own city and our own residents. And so I really started learning about the concept of local control. This is our city. This is the city of Norwalk. We know here locally what is best for our city. So to have somebody tell me and mandate that they know our city better than any of us, that really started to bother me. So what I started doing was becoming more involved with various legislative committees, taking visits to Sacramento, and addressing our legislators that were writing bills that would directly affect the city of Norwalk when they had never been here. These legislators have never, ever been to the city of Norwalk, but they're going to write a bill and make it a mandate that we have to take control. So I started becoming more and more involved with some of these local bills and how they directly affected our city, and becoming a strong fight and a strong voice to maintain local control. So I think, like I said, one of the hardest things was to have somebody tell me that you don't have control, even though you worked those months and months and months of your campaign. You don't have control. I've never been to your city, and you have to do this. I don't really do well with that. So I made it a point to to really bring it in and advocate for local control and do what we can to maintain that and take care and use our voice for our residents and do what is best for our city and for our community.
Yeah. Someone asked, as a mayor, what are your coping strategies for dealing with failure, setbacks, and or disappointments? That's a good question.
That's a great question. I'm going to have to say my family. You know, I learned very, very long time ago that the minute you put down the gavel, you end that meeting, you have to let it go. You have to go home, and you have to relax. You have to relax. And my boys, they are advocates for making me smile. My husband does a great job of helping me relax, whether it's watching a baseball game or start talking about completely different subjects. A lot of times I call my dad. And when I first got elected, I didn't understand what was going on and trying to figure out the best way to manage it and to be a mom and work full time and go to baseball games and serve my church and serve my kids' high school and be a council member and go to ribbon cuttings and serve the businesses and cook dinner. And how do you juggle? How do you do it all? And a lot of the times my dad would tell me, you just have to stop and you have to take time for yourself. And so there's times when I block out sections of my calendar, and this is family time. I'm going to a baseball game. And perfect example is my youngest son. He is a sophomore at St. Paul High School. He is on the varsity baseball team, and we are so grateful that they are playing baseball. And he's got a game tomorrow at 3 o'clock in Simi Valley. So we all know what the traffic is going to be like to get from Norwalk to Simi Valley. And I just blocked off my calendar. I blocked it off from 12 o'clock to whenever, and I'm going to go watch baseball tomorrow. And I'm going to enjoy watching my favorite player play the game that he loves.
That's such an awesome point, because personally, I've experienced that myself just recently, as one of my daughters just went back to start to playing softball. Right, as kids are going back outdoors, and a lot of stuff, the cities are opening up stuff. Selfishly, I told my wife, I said, I think I'm enjoying this more than her, because it's taking me away from the stresses of day to day to be out there and do something, right, that takes you away from all the other things that you do that we love, but it could be stressful. And so it's nice to hear. I think it's a great advice for anyone listening out there, especially for the folks that are students right now and looking, because students are very, very busy, right? They're juggling their lives, they're juggling their jobs and studying. And so sadly, I can tell you it never ends. Right?
It doesn't.
Right? Yeah, it doesn't. But having those outlets is very, very key. I think that's great advice. I had a question. I'm going to scroll up here on the chat here, and please, folks, put your questions on here for the mayor. Happy to read those out. And I know there was one that I was missing here, and I'm trying to find it as I scroll back up on the chat. One of the folks on here said, "Hi, I appreciate the work that you do for our city. Our student body is working on removing the use and sell of plastic. Can you please share a survey? We appreciate your support." But there was another question I think on here also about, I think Raul might have asked about sustainability and the importance of that. And so I don't know if you can talk about any initiatives, anything the city has done to work with its partners around the city around sustainability and things like that. I think that's a great question.
We, like I mentioned earlier, we are doing all we can to make infrastructure a top priority. We started 2 years ago trying to figure out some of the best ways to reduce and better utilize the energy in our city. And that's just one example that I can give. The city purchased the light poles in the city of Norwalk, and we converted them to LED lights. So we did this for a couple of reasons. Number one, it saved on energy. Number two, it really brightened up our neighborhoods and added that additional level of public safety. So we looked at energy saving LED lights, and also were able to make some areas of our city a lot safer. We also, with our current solid waste company, with our trash company, there's a lot of bills that are coming to all of our cities in regards to recyclables and how are you throwing away your trash. And I know it's not something that, people want to really pay attention to. They think, oh, we have 3 trash barrels, the blue, the black, and the green, and we're just putting our trash in them as they come. But really thinking to the next level, and that's what's going to be coming forward to everybody in the state, is how we are disposing of our trash. And that's a bill that's coming in. So now we have to start re-educating our residents on the level of how our trash is disposed of. So those are just 2 things.
Yeah. I have a question. Switching gears a little bit, someone asked, what lessons have you learned from dealing with difficult, confrontational people? That's a good question. It happens, right? And I'm sure there's moments and you hear some not so nice things. And so, what lessons have you learned? And I think also, what advice would you give folks as well in the role that you serve?
So a lot of times I have to remind myself that they're not attacking me as a person. Some people don't know who I am as a person. They're attacking the position. They're having challenges or questions about the conversation, not me as a person. So I really had to learn that and to not take things personally. That I know that as long as I am always doing things for the right reasons and voicing my vote, using my vote as a city council person, as a mayor, for the right reasons that we know would be as a benefit for the city, then I know I'm in a good place. And the other thing, the advice that I would give you, and I mentioned it before, is listen more. Don't interrupt somebody when they're speaking. Let them voice their opinion. And it's okay not to know the answer, but let them know. I don't have an answer at this moment for you, but if you let me take the time to get back to you and follow up with you, I will promise you that I will do that. And I really try really hard to do that. Yeah. So listen more and let them finish their thoughts.
Yeah, I really love that advice. And I love what you said about they're not attacking you, right? And it's true. There's so much going on. And so there's a lot there. And so it's not you, right, Jennifer, the mayor. It's,
right.
It's an issue. It's something that but you're the outlet, right? And
yeah.
But it's, I'm sure in an interesting way, you also, that's why you signed up. Probably there's a sense that you probably enjoy that too, in a way, right? Of like, I can have an impact here and I can have an opportunity to go back and actually give them, I'm the person that can help them along with my folks, your team, the city council to respond, right? In a way that they're going to be eventually, hopefully, that they'll be satisfied with. I think that's great. So we're going through, we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, looking at some other questions that we have here. Again, if you have any other questions for the mayor, please put those on the chat or the Q&A. I know we have some technical questions on here, so I know that Matthew is getting to those, who was kind of helping here on the side with that. And so I'll ask, as we're starting to kind of wrap up a little bit, and I know it's difficult, especially with the year that we've had, but what are maybe some exciting things that you can share that you've heard of? Give us a little teaser, something coming up in Norwalk, something new, you see some new restaurants or new things, or maybe with the parks that folks can get excited about that you see in the horizon here happening maybe in the next year or so.
What can you share? I get asked this question a lot. There is so much happening. There really is so much happening. I will tell you that the city of Norwalk is going to be getting a new grocery store in the very, very near future. That's all I can say. I can't say anything more than that. I will also tell you that we're getting a few new restaurants that are coming to the city of Norwalk. Pickup Sticks is going to be opening very soon. And we're going to be one of the very first cities to have a drive-through Chipotle. I know people don't get too excited about that, but my teenage son is very excited that there's going to be a drive-through Chipotle coming to the city of Norwalk.
Not to interrupt you, Mayor Perez, but I live in Downey. I might just drive over there just for the drive-through Chipotle. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on. Yeah.
You know, we're trying to find new, innovative ways to be healthy and be safe and bring back programming to our residents and to our businesses. So we are in the budget season for fiscal year, for our next fiscal year. We are looking how we can bring programming back safely. We're looking at, you know, maybe we'll have, you know, some concerts or some drive-in movie nights, but really wanting to find a way to be safe. We are all getting tired of being on Zoom. I am tired of being on Zoom. So we're looking. We're trying to find the safest way to gather. But there are some good stuff that are coming. The state is really pushing for housing, for not just in Norwalk, but in every city in the state of California. So we are tasked with housing. So you will definitely see some new housing projects coming to the city. We just completed a very exciting community engagement process called the Heart of Norwalk, where we held 4 different nights, just like we're doing here. And they were planning nights. They were structured to go into breakout rooms and really ask the community, what do you want to see in the city of Norwalk? Where do you feel the heart of Norwalk is? So we're waiting to get that finalized plan from all 4 of those meetings back, and then take it to developers and start having the conversations to say, this is what our residents want. This is what they're looking for. We're looking at doing a bike master plan for our city. We have heard from our residents that if you are a bike rider, some of the areas in our city are not safe for bike riders. So we're looking at the city. We're trying to find the best way to make bike riding, because it is a form of transportation, safe in the city of Norwalk. So there's a lot going on. There are more developments that are coming to play that I can't necessarily talk about because they're not final yet. But there's a lot. And I try to remind our residents that what we're planning for today will be here in 2 to 3 years, maybe 5 years. We can't, as a city council, we can't vote on something tonight and snap our fingers and have a building, you know, built in a month. It doesn't always happen that way, as much as we would love it to. But we're working on it. We have long-term plans for our city, and we as a city council are doing everything we can to make those plans a reality.
A couple of quick questions here. Someone asked, what are your favorite books?
Books that don't make me think, if that makes any sense.
That's like me with TV
I have to do so much. I love sitting down and reading inspirational self-help books, because I need it as much as, you know, the next person does. I will be very honest with you. Sue'sisms. So there's a child book called, I think it's Sue'sisms, but it's all of Dr. Seuss's best quotes.
Okay.
And I look at some of those quotes and just see how it pertains to daily life and raising children or working a job or driving down the street. Things that I can look at and reflect back on, and books that can help make me a better person.
And I have a great question here. I think that might just take us home. Someone asked, how can we get involved to help your efforts within the city?
Oh, that's music to my ears. I put my email address in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, follow-up is one of the key things that I really take pride in. We are always looking for volunteers. We are always looking for ways to communicate and looking for input. So not only do I love that comment on bringing it back and how can we help, but I'm going to put it right back to you, Jason, and to all those that are here. How can I be there for you? Cerritos College is home. I've said that a few times, and I'm looking at the attendee list, and like I said, some of it really warms my heart because I remember walking into the president's office and Cheryl being there and always making me smile. And to this day, Cheryl knows my boys and asks about my children all the time, and I will never forget that. And John Van Gaston was my moderator for the Tri-Gen Club.
I was going to ask that. John... He asked, when are the Tri-Gens are going to get together for lunch?
We will make that happen, I promise. And, you know, I see that Tony Grijalva is on here. Tony, just there's so many people that are at Cerritos College that are family to me. My mom and dad are on the call tonight. My dad, like I said, my dad is a former Board of Trustees member. It's Cerritos' family. We didn't even touch, Jason, on the amount of time that I spent dancing in the dance room at Cerritos College, or the many years and nights that I performed on the stage at Burnite Center Theater. Georgia Wells, all of the teachers, I mean, we can go on. And I think that speaks to the level of Cerritos College. If we could sit here and have a conversation and not feel like an hour has passed, then you know Cerritos College is a good place to be.
I think that's a great way to end today. And folks are coming in, chiming in, saying how proud of you they are, which is great. I mean, on behalf, as a fellow alumnus as well, Jennifer, we're all very proud of you, Mayor Perez, and very exciting. And one quick note, I think Mayor Perez and I met 2 years ago when a mutual friend of ours connected us, and you were looking for a keynote speaker for it was the annual mayor's breakfast, which was an amazing experience. It's too bad, I know, because of COVID, it didn't happen in person this year, and I'm sure it'll get back to that. But it was an amazing experience back in February of 2019. Then I got this, I see the Cerritos gang was there, and President Fierro was there, which is cool, and just folks from throughout the community. And you allowed me to share my experience from Cerritos to all the things I've done, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience for a lot of different reasons, as you well know. And so I appreciated that. And when I was excited when Cerritos said, "Hey, I think we got Mayor Perez to speak," I'm like, "Oh, this is cool," because we haven't chatted in a couple of years, and I thought you were just a cool person, to say the least. And so unless we have any other burning questions. Oh, someone, probably because it scrolled up in the chat, Mayor Perez, but if you want to drop your email once again in the chat.
Yes,
absolutely. So folks can see that again, and you can reach out to Mayor Jennifer Perez if you want to help, if you want to get involved, if you want to know about other drive-through fast food restaurants that'll be opening up. No, I'm teasing. I'm just excited about the Chipotle now. Please do. I know that be great to connect. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us for our third installment of our Alumni Conversations here through Cerritos College. Thank, of course, the good folks over at the foundation, and Matthew, thank you for helping putting this on. Matthew Harms, our Director of Alumni Relations, who does an amazing job with this. And so another great, amazing conversation. And so please check your emails, watch out for our next guests. We're always working on bringing on exciting folks every month. And Mayor Perez, I'll give you the last word. Anything you want to say to send us out?
You know, Jason, I have tears in my eyes. This has been the best way to end a very long week. We did have our mayor's prayer breakfast this past year, it was virtual. We pre-recorded it and showed it on a Friday afternoon. But my want for that virtual prayer breakfast was a sign of hope, you know, and to hold on throughout this entire pandemic. I'm gonna show my age here for a minute. Throughout this entire pandemic, Wilson Phillips' song "Hold On" has been playing over and over and over in my head, and so I shared that with our keynote speakers at the prayer breakfast this year. And, you know, it's just a message of hold on. We will get there. We are going to get there. And that through hope together, things will be brighter. So hold on, Falcons. We will get there. Things are going to be brighter. The sun is going to shine tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. We are all blessed. We are all Falcons. True and true, always will be a Falcon. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to not only have been asked, but to be reunited with so many people. Look, I got a tear coming down my eyes. It's home, it's family. And sometimes these are the best reunions. And I will take off my mayor hat any day to sit and have a conversation with all of you. It's some of the best things that we can do.
Amen. That's fantastic. I love that. With that, thank you so much. And one quick message for your dad, because I remember meeting him and he was a Dodger fan, or is a Dodger fan.
Yes.
And so, yes, I'll have to, this is my huge Dodger and Laker bobblehead collection in the background, if you're wondering. And I think you sent a message. Yes, thank you. It's my pride and joy here. But however, thank you, Mayor Jennifer Perez. Really appreciate you being here as well. We send our gratitude to you at the college for being a part of this. And so thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and we will see you next time. Have a good night.